Good afternoon to friends and colleagues here in the United States, and hello to those of you who are joining virtually from around the world. I'm Ted Osius, and I'm President and CEO of the US-ASEAN Business Council. We are very pleased to host our first ever US-ASEAN virtual awards reception. Today, we're celebrating a very full, very productive year and honoring some of the champions of the US-ASEAN relationship. These individuals have played a key role in supporting the core mission of this organization to bring the United States and ASEAN closer together. Since we've been unable to hold our annual Gala since 2019 due to the challenges of COVID-19, we're adapting. We'd like to spend time with our colleagues in Washington, including our members, as well as our friends from the US government, ASEAN embassies, think tanks, and academic institutions. So we're hosting this virtual reception with a number of people also here face-to-face in lieu of our gala as an opportunity to get together and celebrate our accomplishments. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get underway. Please know that this event will be recorded and shared with our membership. We'd also ask that you please stay muted during the presentation of awards unless you're speaking, but encourage you to use the chat function as much as you'd like. I'd also like to take this opportunity to offer our sincere thanks to the generous sponsors of this awards reception: Airbnb, Chubb, Cigna, Coca-Cola, Freeport McMoran, Johnson & Johnson, Jpygo, Marriott International, MetLife, PepsiCo, Philip Morris International, UL, and Visa. We appreciate your strong support, and we thank you for making this celebration possible. Now, as President and CEO of the US-ASEAN Business Council, for actually a relatively short time, it is my distinct honor to present the first award of the evening, the President Emeritus Award, to my longtime friend, Alexander Feldman. Alex needs no introduction to this group. Still, the Council and I are extremely grateful to Alex for his 12 years of dedicated service and for leaving such a strong foundation. Today, we are presenting Alex the President Emeritus Award for steering this organization through many challenges over the years, including the COVID-19 pandemic, and helping us raise to new heights. Under Alex's leadership, the Council's membership grew to its largest size in our nearly 40-year history. At the same time, our organization's presence on the ground in ASEAN grew to 7 offices with fantastic leaders and talent to match. And I know Alex is proud of helping to realize the first in-person all-staff meeting, bringing colleagues from around ASEAN and the US to meet each other for the first time. And just a personal note, I've been a professional for more than 30 years. I have never been so well prepared for a job as I was by Alex. And we are friends, but it wasn't because of our friendship. He spent hours and hours with me, even as he was getting ready to move to Singapore, because he cares so much about the work of this council. It's his baby. And I'll never forget, Alex, you saying, "Now, Ted, you own it." And those words and other words that you shared with me have stayed with me over these past few months, and I'll do my best to follow in your footsteps and do it as well as I can. But first, let's watch a brief video tribute to our friend Alex.
Alex, congratulations on this well-deserved award. Thank you for taking the organization to historic heights and for steering it through what could be, say, historic times. I hope you feel as proud of your accomplishments as all of us feel about you. You know, when I assumed the role as board chair, which you talked me into, I didn't anticipate having to find your replacement a new president. I just honestly didn't see that coming. But you were gracious, you made it as seamless as possible, and you set Ambassador Osius up for great success. Thank you for all that you've done for us. We look forward to having you as part of our board, and thank you for everything that you've done to continue and keep that legacy going forward. All the best.
Good evening. I'm delighted to have this opportunity to congratulate all of tonight's champions of the US-ASEAN relationship. What an extraordinary group of government and business leaders you have chosen to honor tonight. Each of these awardees know well the vital importance of US-ASEAN relations and have spent many years working to deepen them, for which we are all grateful. I want to congratulate Melissa Brown, who is a respected colleague and friend, and I am so thrilled that she's being honored with the Government Leadership Award, for which she is so truly deserving. Also tonight, I want to congratulate Alex Feldman, who is being honored with the President Emeritus Award. For those of you who don't know why he's being honored, let me tell you. It is because for 12 years, he dedicated literally every waking hour, from early morning to late night, to deepening US-ASEAN ties. He traveled from the US to ASEAN and back over and over and over, a trip many consider interminable, but that he came to regard as just a regular commute. I know he's pleased by the increased attention ASEAN has received over the past several years, but most of all, I'm sure he's gratified by the business opportunities his efforts and those of his US-ABC colleagues have helped create, and for which he's being honored tonight. Congratulations, Alex, for this award, and all the best to you and your family in your new life in Singapore.
Hi, this is Scott Marciel. I want to join everyone else in congratulating Alex Feldman on being named President Emeritus of the US-ASEAN Business Council. I think Alex really deserves this after his 12 years at the Council. During that time, throughout that time, I really had so much opportunity to work with Alex and his team, and I was really impressed by Alex's commitment to bringing American businesses to Southeast Asia, to stepping up the U.S. economic engagement and U.S. Business presence in Southeast Asia. But in addition, Alex also did a great job, even though he wasn't an official diplomat, of helping to bolster the overall relationship between the United States and the countries of Southeast Asia and ASEAN itself by bringing delegations and really syncing the business community effort with the broader U.S. effort to build a closer relationship. So once again, Alex, congratulations.
Congratulations, Alex.
Thank you so much, Ted.
Now, it's kind of like the Oscars. You can hold it up here with you, or we can hold it for you.
It's beautiful, and I love it. And actually, if you don't mind.
Happy to hold it for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Ambassador Osius, Ted. I appreciate your kind words. And of course, from Craig and Barbara and Scott, thank you so much for your words. They really went to my heart. It was 12 years here, over 12 years, actually 12 years and 3 months, but who's counting? I really, this, as you said, Ted, this was my baby, but it's yours. And I'm excited that you're taking over the helm, and I'm grateful for the ambassadors and great friends that are here. And I'm honored to formally continue to be engaged with the council through this President Emeritus Award. For more than 12 years, the council was my life. As you heard Barbara say, the United flights were my bus and my commute, and 12 to 15 times a year, I went back and forth, and it was really an honor and incredibly special to lead this organization. But I realized that it wasn't one person that made all of those accomplishments possible. It really was a team, an incredible team that includes many council alumni, as well as a senior team that stuck with me through almost all of those 12 years. I want to particularly thank Liz Dugan, who's known me since I started my career in 1990, and I convinced to come to the council in 2012. And really, she has been my right-hand person and really helped keep the train going, keep the wheels going. I also want to thank and recognize Mark Mealy and Mike Hsu, who predated me at the council and really provided me with the link to the past and ensured that we were true to our ideals and actually took them further. And of course, Ambassador Mike Mahalik, who helped me realize the dream I had for what the council should look like in Southeast Asia. And now as president of Boeing, I'm going to be a beneficiary of that great effort that Ambassador Mahalik has made in instituting my ideas and creating the 7 offices that were referred to earlier. Not only the 7 offices, but the people in those offices, the leaders in those offices, including many who predated me and some that came on with me. And of course, our directors and those office heads are and will be a critical part of our future success. But it was the members, and Russell King, thank you for being here. And I honor you and Melissa Brown and Ambassador Mapori and Minister Srimalani, who are also getting awards today, because all of you were part of our success, especially our members. Without our members, the council was nothing. And I'm very proud of the fact that we doubled membership just about during the time I was here. And it wasn't just doubling membership, but it was doubling quality of membership. And we have some of the best members and some of the best companies in the world. I also want to recognize all the important stakeholders, not just Ambassador Mapori or Minister Srimalani, but all the ministers, all the ambassadors who have played a role in the council's success over time. It's been an amazing journey, and I'm excited that Ambassador Ted Osius is going to take the council forward. I hope I've left him a good platform. I think we have, and I really am grateful for this award. I thank you so much. And I just looking forward to a front row seat as the council moves forward. And I will look forward to being a critical support at Boeing for the council. I already have. I just came back from a US-ASEAN Business Council Thailand business mission where we met with Prime Minister Prayut and his cabinet. And I want to thank Kun Prab and the team, including Hai Pham, who was here and doing all the work behind the scenes, and the greater team. And again, I know it's a busy time. I could go on forever, but I'll stop here and just say thank you. I'm so grateful for this award, and I look forward to being part of the council's success in the years ahead. Thank you very much.
Alex, thank you very much for accepting the award and for those remarks that you shared with us. And it's also great to see you. Didn't know you were actually going to be back from the region once again. And again, have a great holiday season. Sure. My name is Mark Mealy, the council's Senior Vice President for Policy. And I have the distinct honor of introducing our next awardee. It is Melissa Brown, and presenting her with the Government Leadership Award. In September, Melissa assumed the role of Deputy Assistant Secretary with the responsibility for the Office of Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands, and the Office of Economic Policy in the Bureau of East Asia and Pacific Affairs. Prior to her new role, and this is when I really got a chance to work with her, from 2019 to 2021, Melissa served at the Chargé d'Affaires at the US mission to ASEAN in Jakarta, where she led an unprecedented expansion of US engagement with ASEAN as a region, as well as efforts to mobilize the region to help resolve the political crisis in Burma. Previously, Melissa was the Counselor for Economic and Political Affairs at the US Embassy in Singapore, where we also had a chance to interact those years, where she served also as Acting Director for Chief of Mission for 1 year and oversaw the execution of the historic 2018 US BPRK Singapore Summit. A Southeast Asia expert with strong trade policy background, Melissa was previously assigned to Jakarta, Indonesia as the Trade and Investment Unit Chief at the US Embassy's Jakarta Economic Section. In Washington, she's also detailed to the Office of the USTR and served as the US State Department's Vietnam desk. Her earlier overseas diplomatic assignments in the region also include Port Louis, Mauritius, as well as Bangkok, Thailand. Melissa's career has taken her across the Asia Pacific and back many times. And through it all, she's dedicated leadership and commitment to US foreign policy towards Southeast Asia and helping to foster the overall US-ASEAN relationship. It is my honor today to present Melissa with the US-ASEAN Business Council's Government Leadership Award. And we'll have a video.
I have been a Melissa Brown fan for at least 10 years. Ever since I was in the process of departing from Vietnam, Melissa has been popping in and out of my life. She was the last in a long line of control officers who would help me navigate Washington, D.C. when I'd come back from Hanoi. She was quick to tell me that she had not yet served in Vietnam. When arriving in Singapore to start my duties with the Council, I met the Econ Commercial Chief of the American Embassy, Ms. Melissa Brown. Melissa was a wonderful source to keep me up to speed on what was happening in the embassy, as well as giving me the benefit of her quite extensive experience in Southeast Asia and her considerable knowledge of the Washington trade bureaucracy. She still had not, however, served in Vietnam. Well, she must have enjoyed being back in Southeast Asia because she turned up again as the DCM in the U.S. mission to ASEAN in Jakarta, where we carried on our friendship. And now she is an exalted poobah on the 6th floor of the State Department. There is no one better qualified for that job than Melissa Brown. And I think that I will not be surprised when, on some future trip to Hanoi, I meet a newly arrived State Department officer named Melissa Brown. I wonder what job she will have there.
Hi, and greetings from Mexico City. And congratulations, Melissa, and congratulations to the US-ASEAN Business Council for this great initiative. As many of you all know, when I was assigned to be the Deputy Chief of Mission and then the Chargé at the Embassy in Singapore, I did not have any ASEAN experience, but it was fine because they gave me the most brilliant counselor, advisor, and colleague in Melissa Brown. And what makes her brilliant is not just her intellect and her experience and everything she knows about ASEAN and the importance of this relationship to the United States, but it's her generosity and her leadership in making all of us smarter. And when she does that, when she shares everything she knows, she advances foreign policy. So kudos to you, Melissa. I'm so delighted to be part of your team, and I can't wait to work with you again. Saludos. Bye. Felicidades.
Great. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the ASEAN Secretariat, I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to Melissa Brown for receiving United States Government's Leadership Award from United States ASEAN Business Council in recognition of her outstanding contribution towards the strengthening of ASEAN-US dialogue relations. As the longest-serving and interim charge of affairs of United States mission in ASEAN, she has been instrumental in deepening ASEAN-US collaborations despite the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. Her invaluable support has contributed towards the adoption of the ASEAN-US Plan of Action 2021-2025 and the issuance of a joint statement on human capital developments and digital development, and several EAS leader statements in the past 2 years. During her tenure, ASEAN and the US has also expanded their engagement in the strategic area of public health, digital transformation, gender equality, energy, environment, and climate change, as well as sustainability and green economy and ASEAN SME Academy. With this note, I share the timeliness of this award as an appreciation for her continued support in enhancing the ASEAN-US strategic partnership, particularly in both sides works towards the commemoration of the 45th anniversary of the ASEAN-US dialogue relations in 2022. I thank you.
Great. Following those tributes, Melissa, I'm really honored to present you with this award. And happy to hold it for you if you'd like.
I'm definitely going to make you hold it up first.
Okay,
Thank you
fantastic.
so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's funny. So of course I have a speech prepared that I'm not going to read, and instead I'll focus on some of the remarks that I jotted down in the cab on the way over here. So first, it's funny enough because some of the people that I wanted to thank for the generosity that they've shown me were people that did tributes already here. So I guess it proves just how much of my career has been tied to advancing US-ASEAN economic relations and how much I've really invested, and I really appreciate the recognition. I feel overwhelmed and flattered. But first, Ambassador Mahalik, to Stephanie Siptak Ramnath, to people like Jim Caruso and Barbara Wiesel, Ambassador Osias and Ambassador Marcial, but then also my foreign partners, whether they be diplomats or business folks, whether they be the Secretary General of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. I just really am so thankful for what they've invested in me and encouraged me to devote so much time. We don't have many experts in Southeast Asia in the US government. I am definitely one of the few, but one of the very proud. I also want to thank for certain my husband and probably my 2 kids who might even be zooming in and watching, because I think, without their support, I wouldn't be here. We've seen a lot of curveballs with COVID-19. I definitely didn't anticipate the 8-9 months being separated from my family. So a big thanks to my husband for all he's done. But some of you have heard this story before. The big thanks goes to my mom and my late dad, because when I was 15, they sat me down. They called a family meeting, and family meetings are, when you're 15, they're never good news. And this one was to let us know we were moving to Jakarta, to Indonesia. And you could tell they were a little nervous about how I and my 2 brothers would take this. But I think you can see now that my love affair of Southeast Asia that was launched back when I was 15 has only grown deeper and stronger. I just wanted to note quickly what do I have in common as a diplomat with business people? What do we share in common? Why is it that I get so much fulfillment working so closely with the US-ASEAN Business Council? So I'm just going to mention 3 things briefly. Number 1, and I think I might have stolen this from Ambassador Marcial, but I already know Ambassador Osias will agree. To be a successful diplomat, you have to be compulsively curious. You need to wonder who has the power, who is making the decisions, what are their interests, strategize, where are you headed? And in some ways, it's like an amateur anthropologist, but I see that often with the business community. It's a lot of the same, isn't it? The second thing is being a problem solver, coming up with a plan and figuring out how to overcome challenges. But of course, also being incredibly optimistic, because that's what keeps us going to approach the same challenges from different angles time and time again, but also allows us to be really, really thrilled when we secure a win and finalize a deal and overcome one of those challenges or take advantage of an opportunity. But the third thing is, above all, it's the people and the relationships and the partnership. And I think watching the US-ASEAN Business Council, it's hopefully something I've endeavored to do in my career. It's building those relationships. It's treating your friends, partners, and allies with respect. It's listening to what it is that they have to say, but then also never hesitating to call when you need something, whether it be a favor or some information. But repeatedly seeing those people year after year and being open-minded to what they have to offer, it's one of the reasons I just really admire the work of the US-ASEAN Business Council. So whether we look ahead to what we're going to do on things like digital economy, on supply chains, with the US-ASEAN internship program that we do with the United States and the US ABC, I am incredibly optimistic, compulsively curious, but I'm really glad that I have all of you to rely on and to continue to learn new things. And as long as I'm learning new things and enjoying the ride, I think I couldn't have a better job. And I appreciate the investment you've all put in me and the recognition here today. So thank you very much.
Melissa, thank you so much for those wonderful remarks and for joining us today. Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Dugan, and I am Vice President for Operations here at the Council. And before I introduce our next awardee, I wanted to mention an initiative we are running through the US-ASEAN Business Council Institute, the 501c3 arm of the Council. As you are all aware, the situation in Myanmar has had a dire impact on the country's economy, and that has severely affected Myanmar students studying here in the United States. Because of financial hardships beyond their control, many students can no longer afford to continue their studies. And so USABCI has decided to do something about that by partnering with the Institute of International Education to create and implement a scholarship fund that supports Myanmar students suffering hardships here in the States and makes sure that they can complete their studies without interruption. Several of our members have already stepped up to help us raise $2 million per year for the next 3 years. And we're so grateful to them. We're very pleased to have the support of friends like Ambassador Derek Mitchell and others in the community to make this possible. And we, of course, will welcome additional support from our members. So if you would like to hear more about this important initiative, please reach out to me or to my colleague, Jack Mint, and we'll be delighted to provide you with more information. But I think you can all recognize how really important such an effort is. And now I'm going to switch gears and tell you it is my sincere pleasure to introduce my friend, our friend, Russell King. I don't even know how I got to do this when I think about all the people who love you, Russell. So it's really very distinct pleasure to present you with the aptly titled Member for Life Award. As many of you know, Russell left us for the green pastures of retirement back in June of this year, although we keep seeing you show up. While he's gone, he is most certainly not forgotten, not by a long shot. Before retiring, Russell was a senior vice president at Freeport-McMoRan, reporting to the CEO and advising senior management on policy responses to domestic and global political developments. Russell was for a number of years a member of the US-ASEAN Business Council's board, including serving on our executive committee. And in addition, he served as chairman and later vice chairman of our Indonesia committee for many years. And now I think we've just extended that in perpetuity. Yeah. He also served on the boards of the American Indonesian Chamber of Commerce, the US-Indonesia Society, National Center for APEC, the Council of the Americas, and on the Corporate Council on Africa, serving as vice chairman of the board on the executive committee, and also chairing the Democratic Republic of the Congo Working Group. This is basically a global guy, loved the world over. Russell, we know you always said you'd be a member for life, and now we're going to hold you to that. Today, the US-ASEAN Business Council presents you with our Member for Life Award in recognition of your unparalleled support for the Council over so many, many years. And now, please allow us to embarrass you just a little bit more with these tributes.
This is my third tribute for my old friend Russell King. It's well deserved. At the risk of repeating myself, let me just thank the US-ASEAN Business Council for offering him this award. It's well deserved. This is my third tribute for my old friend Russell King. It's well deserved. At the risk of repeating myself, let me just thank the US-ASEAN Business Council for offering him this award. It's well deserved. I'm speaking to you from New York, and over the years of my engagement with Russell, it was always New York versus Russell, the South, Washington, who knows what. This is my third tribute for my old friend Russell King. It's well deserved. At the risk of repeating myself, let me just thank the US-ASEAN Business Council for offering him this award. It's well deserved. I'm speaking to you from New York, and over the years of my engagement with Russell, it was always New York versus Russell, the South, Washington, who knows what. We'd often spend the first part of our conversations, which ultimately got down to business, on these and many other cultural issues, and it was a wonderful exchange. And it's a tribute to how he did business, which was very personal. And it's a lesson for all of us that he took his job seriously and he took you seriously as a person. He gave himself selflessly to many organizations, including the one I'm still president of, the American Indonesian Chamber of Commerce. He knit together organizations that needed this process, all in the service of increasing the business voice in the relationship between very important countries, the United States and Indonesia. So closing here quickly, I know this has to be short. All the best for Russell and all of you that are watching. Here's a guy that had 30, 35 years with him, all of them wonderful. And we learned a lot from each other. And I think everybody involved with Indonesia has to realize that his engagement with the country was a great thing and led to many, many positive developments, not only for his company, Freeport, but for everybody else. Bye-bye.
Hello, I'm Yancey Molnar from Chubb Insurance. It's an honor to pay tribute to Russell King. No one is more deserving of the US-ASEAN Business Council Member for Life Award than Russell. I became close to Russell during my CEO Evan Greenberg's chairmanship of the council. As we all know, Russell is the model in terms of the government affairs profession. He understands the importance of relationships and is a master of identifying and connecting individuals to serve mutual interests. He's such a good lobbyist, in fact, that he was able to convince Chubb to underwrite his beloved Georgia Bulldog University football team. And before I get a call from headquarters, I'm just kidding about that one. As he does with everyone else, Russell took it upon himself to lend a hand as my Sherpa, helping me navigate the dynamics of the council during Evan's chairmanship. It became apparent very quickly that Russell had the best interests of the council always at the top of his mind. I will always be grateful for his support during this period and beyond. Russell, while the monetary compensation for this award may be lacking, please know that you have an army of friends, colleagues, and supporters at the US-ASEAN Business Council who are willing to return the favor given all that you have done for them. Congratulations, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Russell, I wish so much that I could be with you and all of our friends and colleagues on this event where you are getting such a richly deserved recognition for your long career. You've done so much, Russell, in helping to build positive relationships between countries, and even more importantly, positive relationships between individuals who have responsibilities in dealing internationally. For me personally, we've worked together for over 30 years. You've been a great partner, a special advisor, and I want to express my appreciation personally in behalf of Freeport-McMoRan for the guidance and support that you've so ably given to us over the years. Enjoy your evening, and I look forward to getting together with you soon.
Hi everybody, this is Dino Jalal, and on behalf of US-ABC's Indonesian friends, I would like to congratulate King Russell for this lifetime membership US-ABC award. Yes, I did call him King Russell. You all call him Russell King, but he always insisted on me calling him King Russell. Of course, whatever makes him happy, right? So, I don't know who Russell bribe, beat up, or beg to get this award, but I'm sure it's all worth it. And I think on the part of US-ABC, the motivation is that they don't want to wait until you're dead, Russell. So they decided to give this award early on. King Russell is like a son to me, right? And I remember those days in DC when I used to take him to the park, and we would throw football, and he would always say, "Daddy, Daddy, throw me the football," right? Good old days, right? But in all seriousness, Russell, we all love you. You are very much respected by everybody in Indonesia and in the region. You are a force in the US-ASEAN Business Council. You are a mentor, a great friend, an advisor to all of us. I've known you for a long time, and seriously, when I think of America, I think of Russell. You are open, you are dynamic, you are energetic, and there's just a great quality to you. And I'm so lucky to know you as a friend, Russell. And I know that once somebody has you as a friend, they have you as a friend for life, right? A loyal friend and a great friend. And that's been proven over and over again. So Russell, great respect from me, from Rosa, from all you Indonesian friends. And I'm so glad that you're getting this membership for life award at US-ABC. Hopefully you can use it as a coupon to get a 50% discount next time you go to KFC or McDonald's, right? Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye, King Russell.
So Russell, if you can stop laughing long enough to come over here, please. Never truer words spoken, really, in the greatest seriousness. Congratulations.
Thank you, Liz.
Would you like me to hold it for you?
Well, let me hold it up momentarily.
Okay.
This is the trophy that that Georgia didn't get to hold up at the SEC championship. So we'll, for a moment, make imaginations. But thank you, Liz. Thank you. A great honor to receive this award. I asked Ambassador Osius, what are the rules of engagement on my comments? And he said, well, they're just two things to remember. He said, first, no crying, no crying. I said, okay, I'm good on that. And I said, what the other one? He says, well, if you last too long, I will put the hook on you. So I promise to keep my comments brief. My history with the council goes back to maybe 1992, when the then CEO of Freeport-McMoRan and I were at a black tie reception at the Waldorf Astoria. Freeport had in 1988 discovered what is now one of the great mines in the world, the Grasberg mine. And we had made a decision corporately to essentially over time sell off all our assets to develop this great mine. And that meant that we were going to be a one mine, one country company. That meant that we were a light switch. You're either on or off. So Russell went from being sort of a domestic guy, although I did have some limited international education, to all of a sudden really wanting and trying to learn about Indonesia from scratch. And then I realized Freeport was frankly in a position as a company to be very helpful to support good relations. But I also recognized these were two giant elephants, Indonesia and the US, and a company could ably help briefly before we'd get crushed by bigger forces. So we were in the great hunt, and potentially we're going to set up, be the initiative to set up an association of companies interested in Indonesia. We didn't know what existed. And so anyway, I'm at this black tie dinner in New York City, and I think it was 1992. I was honoring President Suharto. And a fellow named Bob Driscoll comes up to me, who was the then president of the council. I didn't know him, he didn't know me. He said, I hear you're interested in doing this, interested in supporting Indonesia through an association to create good balanced relations. He said, we'll do the job for you. And so that's how we ended up joining the council. My education began then because we embraced it because it existed, but I later became, as I learned more about it, it became so much more important for US-Indonesian relations that the ASEAN countries, who are a sorority or a fraternity, use whatever gender you want to, of countries that love and like and support each other, and an attack on one as a political matter is largely an attack on the other. And so we stumbled into the perfect situation, learning later that Indonesia was the centerpiece of ASEAN, as with population and economy, et cetera, and all the things that were to follow. When I started with the council, Hank Greenberg was the chairman. As you have heard through one of these testimonials to me, undeserved, but I embrace them all, that years later, it was Evan Greenberg, the son of Hank, running the Chubb group within the ACE group, who was chairman. So I've sort of been through generationally through people. I will acknowledge, most importantly, that all of this presentation and my comments are taking place in the Rod Hill room. Rod Hills was the heart and soul of the council. He was the guy that transcended all of these wonderful presidents of the council, CEOs of the council, and we lost him several years ago, but the council and Alex Feldman, in his wisdom, and which I loved, chose to name this room and dedicate it to Rod. And so it's a particular honor for me to be in Rod's room, accepting this award. I will just, some of this is duplicative of other more eloquent comments, but I gotta thank Liz for all of her work and friendship, and Mark Mealy, people that aren't here, Alex Stewart that was here years before, Putri Alam, who was here and may have moved back to Washington, I'm not sure. Saw her recently. There was a fellow named Walter Lohman. One of my favorite Dutch uncle speeches was to Walter when he was the Indonesia guy at the council. I went up to Walter and he was doing a fine job, a solid job. And I said, Walter, you enjoying your job? He said, yeah. And I said, are you comfortable? And he said, yeah. And I said, are you all relaxed? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, you better get scared. Somebody's always coming. And if you're asleep, just comfortable in your job, you're at risk. You sort of pull back, but it wasn't bad advice. And then I'll throw one other name that's lost to the annals of history for most folks, and that was a young lady named Kate Wilson. In the beginning of the council days, we didn't get to hire all of these really talented staff people to bring them in. What was hired then was these bright, energetic, well-educated kid straight out of college or out of Hopkins, SAIS, or wherever. And in the words of one of Freeport's former CEOs, the council was growing their own onions. And Kate was that Indonesian onion. And she started out energetically, brilliantly, but almost illiterately about Indonesia, and ended up being just a top person, and then later went on to greater things. I don't know, Microsoft hired her, made her a multimillionaire, whatever happened to her. But anyway, with all of that, thank you. It's been wonderful. Thank you for the honor. And Ted, put the hook down, I'm gone.
No hook needed, Russell. We're really happy to keep you in the US-ABC family. You can't get away. You're not going to get away easy. You're stuck with us. So it is my distinct honor today to present the first of our 2 Congressional Champion Awards to Representative Joaquin Castro. Now, Chairman Greg Smith and Brian Delgado and I had the great pleasure this afternoon of calling on Representative Castro. We called on 2 Dems and 2 Republicans up on the Hill. So it was a very bipartisan visit to the Hill, I'm happy to say. And I get to say something about one of the Republicans in a moment as well. In 2012, Representative Castro was elected to serve in the U.S. House of Representatives as representative of Texas's 20th congressional district, which covers a large portion of San Antonio and Bexar County. And I had the pleasure of hosting Joaquin Castro when he visited Vietnam with President Obama. Now in his 4th term in the U.S. House of Representatives, Joaquin serves on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, as well as the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the House Education and Labor Committee. He was the 2013 co-president for the House Freshman Democrats and currently serves as the chair of the Texas Democratic Caucus. During his time in the House earlier this year, Representatives Castro and Wagner co-sponsored the Southeast Asia Strategy Act, which recently passed as part of the National Defense Authorization Act, and so is expected to become law. Importantly, this bill directs the State Department to develop a comprehensive strategy for engaging ASEAN across multiple dimensions, from trade and investment flows to diplomatic and security arrangements. We hope to see this bill pass smoothly and signed into law, and in the meantime, express our deep appreciation to Representatives Wagner and Castro for their efforts to advance U.S. foreign policy toward a more comprehensive strategic outlook on ASEAN. Now, before we gave him the award this afternoon, but I want to hear a few words of tribute to Representative Castro, and then we'll move on to Representative Wagner.
Good evening. On this occasion, for an opportunity to honor champions of the US-ASEAN relationship, it is my pleasure and delight to thank Congressman Castro and Congresswoman Wagner for their support of the ASEAN Matters for America and America Matters for ASEAN initiative. The East-West Center has been pleased to work with both members of Congress in their support of public launches of our initiative with the US-ASEAN Business Council, and for their continued support of all aspects of US engagement with the member countries of ASEAN. Thank you very much indeed, and congratulations on being champions of the US-ASEAN relationship. Good evening.
Please allow me to offer my congratulations to the recipients of the Congressional Champion Award, Joaquin Castro and Ann Wagner. They have done an outstanding job of promoting the US-ASEAN relationship through their work in Congress, setting up a congressional caucus on ASEAN, introducing the Waisili Act to put a strong foundation under that people-to-people exchange program, and also introducing the Southeast Asia Strategy Act. Their work really shows that ASEAN needs to be and will be at the center of the US strategy for the free and open Indo-Pacific. And it shows and reflects a lot of respect and mutual admiration between the US and the ASEAN region. So their work is just very important, and as a former administration official, I can testify to the fact that Congress's support on strong foreign relations with our friends overseas is absolutely invaluable. So let me just offer my congratulations to the recipients of the award. Thank you.
ASEAN Business Council. And first, I'd like to congratulate Ambassador. Thank you, Theo, for that kind introduction. It's an honor to accept the Congressional Leadership Award from the US-ASEAN Business Council. And first, I'd like to congratulate Ambassador Osius for taking over as the President and CEO of the US-ASEAN Business Council, and Craig Smith for taking over as Chairman. I'm looking forward to seeing your good work with this important organization. And hey, y'all, I'm Joaquin Castro, and I have the honor of representing my hometown of San Antonio in the United States Congress, where I serve on the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Intelligence Committee, and the Education and Labor Committee in the U.S. House. On the House Foreign Affairs Committee, I chair the Subcommittee on International Development, International Organizations, and Global Corporate Social Impact, where I have worked to deepen U.S. leadership on development and our commitment to multilateral institutions, including ASEAN. And since the first time I came to Congress, I've prioritized issues of foreign affairs and national security. I'm deeply committed to the United States leadership role in the world, particularly in the Indo-Pacific. And I believe Congress needs to remain engaged on these issues, build relationships with partners in the region, and push each administration to demonstrate strong leadership in the Indo-Pacific. And that's why I first started the U.S.-Japan Caucus in 2013. And then in 2017, in part to continue the momentum of the latter part of the Obama administration's efforts in Southeast Asia, I co-founded the Congressional Caucus on ASEAN alongside my colleague, Representative Ann Wagner, a Republican from Missouri. The caucus has had an active few years. During the previous administration, we kept the ASEAN priorities front and center in the Congress through meetings, events, legislation, and through pushing the State Department to prioritize the region. That mission continues into the current administration. I've been encouraged by the high-level engagement of the Biden administration with ASEAN member states. Secretary of Defense Austin visited in July to shore up our security partnerships, for example. Vice President Harris visited in August, and the Commerce Secretary Raimundo visited in November. The President also attended the virtual ASEAN summits, the first leader-level engagement with ASEAN since 2017. In my discussions with the State Department, I've pushed them to visit the region often at a high level. And I was happy to see Councilor Cholette and Assistant Secretary Crittenbrink visit the region recently and look forward to the outcomes of Secretary Blinken's visits this coming week. It matters who engages, which I think the administration is on the right track in doing. It also matters what we do. ASEAN matters because it's an organization that is built on the premise that cooperation is better than conflict, and that the people of Southeast Asia will have a stronger voice if they act together as one. In a world where countries like China and Russia engage in economic coercion and territorial land grabs, it's important for countries to work together to defend their interests. We know that this isn't always easy, especially for ASEAN, but I've been encouraged by recent events, including the stance ASEAN has taken on the coup in Burma in not legitimizing the junta during the recent meetings and summits. I'll always be a partner to the people of ASEAN in their goals for a region governed by the rule of law, where governments are accountable for their actions to their people. I know there's a significant interest in ASEAN and in this room for greater economic engagement between the United States and the region, and I'm closely tracking the administration's Build Back Better World initiative, which will invest in high standards of infrastructure and work with partners, including those in Southeast Asia, to combat climate change. In Congress, I will continue to push for greater attention to ASEAN and its member nations. Just yesterday, the House voted on the defense bill, which included the Southeast Asia Strategy Act, legislation which I worked on with my ASEAN Caucus co-chair, Representative Ann Wagner. The legislation will push the administration to develop a comprehensive strategy for diplomatic engagement with the region. I've also introduced legislation to support the Young Southeast Asian Leadership Initiative, a U.S. program that promotes people-to-people ties between the United States and ASEAN. And I'll continue to look for additional opportunities for Congress to strengthen this relationship and create institutional links between the two communities. Thank you again for your recognition and for all of the work the US-ABC does to advance the US-ASEAN ties.
Hi, I'm Congresswoman Ann Wagner of Missouri's 2nd District, founder and co-chair of the Congressional ASEAN Caucus. Thank you so much to the US-ASEAN Business Council for hosting this wonderful event, and thanks to our ambassadors and representatives from ASEAN countries who are in attendance this evening. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to celebrate the important relationship between the United States and its partners in Southeast Asia. I founded the bipartisan ASEAN Caucus with my colleague, Congressman Castro, to kickstart innovative and proactive engagement with Southeast Asian countries and better dialogue between the United States and its partners. As the People's Republic of China leans on coercive diplomacy and predatory economics in Southeast Asia, the United States must demonstrate robust leadership. Our caucus believes that the United States should be ASEAN's go-to partner for the security partnerships, trade, and investment. ASEAN is experiencing tremendous growth, and the United States should improve and invest in ASEAN economic architecture. My colleagues and I are committed to enhancing trade with the region, strengthening the rule of law, improving freedoms of the press, upholding human rights and freedom of navigation, and engaging students and professionals from across the region. I encourage businesses to reach out to the caucus when we can be helpful, and I'm grateful for the Council's role in bringing stakeholders together. Enhanced security cooperation is also imperative. Our partners and allies are requesting greater reassurance from the United States in light of China's economic leverage and militarization of critical waterways. Stepping back when China steps forward does no good for our friends. The United States must unite Southeast Asian stakeholders under a common plan to counter China's divide and conquer strategy to expand its influence in the region. Our challenge is to sustain U.S. engagement and leadership in the region, support ASEAN unity and democracy, and articulate our strategic priorities. To this end, I have introduced the Southeast Asia Strategy Act to instruct the Secretary of State to develop a comprehensive strategy for engagement with the region, including information on alliances and partnerships, investment, development and human rights initiatives, security cooperation, energy security, enforcement of international law and sanctions, and the defense of open, reliable trade routes. I am happy to say that the House has advanced this legislation, and I am hopeful the Senate will send it to the President's desk. Southeast Asia is of deep strategic and economic importance to the United States, and its global influence is growing. The United States must coordinate with ASEAN and its member states in the interest of promoting peace, security, and stability in the region. We owe it to our friends and partners to defend our mutual interests and challenge Beijing when it seeks to intimidate our partners. I look forward to working with you to ensure that the United States is a strong, effective, and present leader in the Asia Pacific. Thank you.
I want to say a special thanks to both Representatives Castro and Representative Wagner for these meaningful remarks. When Chairman of the Council, Craig Smith, and I visited the Hill, as I mentioned earlier, we saw 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. Everyone was pro-trade, everyone was pro-ASEAN and deepening engagement with ASEAN. Now, this is a hybrid event. We learn as we go along. And for the record, I want to say just a few words about Representative Wagner. She was, before she joined the Congress, she was U.S. Ambassador to Luxembourg, so she has extensive diplomatic experience. And then following her time serving abroad, she ran and won her first congressional race, receiving more votes in that election cycle than any other Republican congressional candidate in Missouri. She took office in January of 2013 and was selected by both her freshman and sophomore class to be their representative on the elected leadership committee. She currently serves as vice ranking member on both the House Financial Services Committee and House Foreign Affairs Committee. And we are very proud to partner with her and with Representative Castro and with all others on the Hill who are willing to engage with us. And we think there are many. Thank you. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I have another distinct honor tonight, and this one is really very special for me. Having been here at the council for coming up on 20 years now, I can definitely say that my career has been definitely shaped by a number of individuals, including, I would say, some of the ambassadors from Southeast Asia that I've had a chance to work with for many decades. One such ambassador is going to be receiving tonight a Lifetime Achievement Award, and it's certainly well-deserved to a dear friend whose work is still not over, although we're recognizing you for a lifetime achievement, and that is Ambassador Ishak Mapori from the Embassy of Singapore here in Washington. This Lifetime Achievement Award is presented to Ambassador Mapori in recognition of his lifetime of public service as a career diplomat, including his position as the current longest-serving ambassador from an ASEAN country to the United States, having served as Singapore's ambassador here to Washington since 2012. Ambassador Mapori's foreign service career has spanned the globe. Prior to his current appointment in Washington, he served as ambassador to Indonesia from 2006 to 2012, the High Commissioner to Malaysia from 2002 to 2006, and also the High Commissioner to Australia from 2000 to 2001. He first joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 1984. In 1994, he was appointed director of MFA's Policy Planning and Analysis Directorate for Southeast Asia. He spent a little bit of time also in the private sectors, being seconded to Shell International as a corporate advisor. And he was subsequently assigned to Singapore's embassy in Jakarta in 1998, as well as a minister counselor and deputy chief of mission roles as well. Throughout his career, and certainly over the past 10 years coming up now here in Washington, Ambassador Mapori has exemplified what it means to be a diplomat. I think for those who have had a chance to really hear him and engage with him, there's always a very special warmth and presence in how he presents information, how he really makes an audience really engage with him when he's talking about very important issues. And that's something I've always felt and been very admired of you, the way you are able to sort of create that sense in your remarks. We've certainly been proud of the work that you've certainly spearheaded during the efforts around the TPP, now CPTPP. And we, of course, at the Business Council hope that one day the United States will be able to reap some of the benefits of all of that work. Ambassador Mapori has been a steadfast supporter of deepening ties between the United States and ASEAN, as well as the United States and Singapore, and has been a fantastic friend of the Council. And as I present you with this Lifetime Achievement Award, please know that it's only a small token of our appreciation for all that you do. Before we give you the award, let me allow a few tributes to be showed for you. Thank you.
My name is Tariq Mahmood. I'm the Group Country Manager for Regional Southeast Asia for Visa. On behalf of Visa and the board of the US-ASEAN Business Council, it's my honor to pay tribute to the Honorable Ambassador Ashok Mirpuri, Singapore Ambassador to the United States, and to celebrate his Lifetime Achievement Award. The award recognizes the ambassador's lifetime of public service as a career diplomat, including his position as the longest serving ambassador from an ASEAN country to the United States, having served as Singapore's ambassador to the US since 2012. The award celebrates the ambassador's years of steadfast partnership to deepen the trade ties between the US and ASEAN, including ongoing discussions on digital trade agreements with the United States, and also the past support for multilateral agreements with the United States such as the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which gave way to the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. From our regional headquarters out here in Singapore, we look forward to the continued partnership with you and with Singapore in driving the digital economy forward, supporting small business and helping develop the skills and technologies of tomorrow. So from Singapore, we extend our congratulations to the ambassador. Congratulations.
Dear Honorable Ambassador Mirpuri,
It is indeed an honor for me to represent my fellow American business colleagues to honor you with this Lifetime Achievement Award. A lifetime is by no means representing your record as the longest serving ambassador from an ASEAN country to the US, but rather a deeply symbolic commensuration of your accomplishments in foreign diplomacy over the years to strengthen trade ties between the US and ASEAN. You have been a great support in championing trade discussions and agreements between Singapore and the US, while serving as a visionary leader in the ongoing digital trade agreements. Congratulations and thank you from all of us.
Good evening. Thank you very much, US-ABC, for inviting me to this Lifetime Achievement Awards. I cannot think of anyone who deserves this honor more than Ambassador Ashok Mirpuri. He serves his country very well and he promotes ASEAN tirelessly. So Dean, well done and continue to work hard, but don't forget to play golf. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador, otherwise known as Gowries +1. Congratulations, my friend. There's no one more deserving of this award, the Lifetime Achievement Award. You've been in DC for what I'm sure feels like a lifetime, so it's only fitting that you're finally recognized for your sacrifices. But in all seriousness, you are, in the truest, most meaningful sense, a model public servant and consummate representative of your country, not to mention trusted and respected advisor to presidents and prime ministers. And our bilateral relations are unquestionably stronger because of you. A job truly well done. All the best and our heartfelt congratulations.
And with that, Ambassador.
Thank you, Mark.
Sure, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I can hold it for you, like, okay.
Thank you very much. Well, after all those tributes, you feel very old. But thank you. Thank you for the US-ASEAN Business Council for extending me this generous honor. In the manner of award ceremonies, I would like to also congratulate my fellow recipients. Together, we have raised the profile of ASEAN in the United States. I especially want to congratulate Alex Feldman, now living in Singapore, on receiving the President Emeritus Award. Alex introduced me to the US-ASEAN Business Council even before I took up my assignment here in 2012, and has become a true friend. He has been a champion for ASEAN and laid a solid foundation for the US-ASEAN relationship in his many years leading the Council. Another true friend is the current president of the US-ASEAN Business Council, Ambassador Ted Osius. Our families, including my wife, Gowrie, who Pete Selfridge referred to as my boss, our families have known each other for over a decade since we were neighbors in central Jakarta. Ted has the vision to take the US-ABC to the next level and is already actively working with the administration and the ASEAN embassies as we look forward to the 45th year of the US-ASEAN Dialogue Partnership in 2022. I also want to thank those who offered the tribute videos in my honor this afternoon. One of them asked if I was retiring or returning to Singapore. I want to assure all of you that I'm neither retiring nor ending my assignment here. There's still much to do on the ASEAN agenda in Washington, DC and the United States. And together with my ambassadorial colleagues in the ASEAN Committee in Washington, many who've joined us this evening here at the US-ABC, I look forward to continuing to pitch for and promote the Southeast Asia region as widely as possible. In 2009, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew spoke at the 25th anniversary Gala dinner of the US-ASEAN Business Council here in Washington, DC. In reference to the region, Mr. Lee said then, and it is still relevant now, that a consistent American policy of keeping ASEAN engaged will add to stability. He added that the United States must be an important part of the regional architecture. I also want to quote Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong when he spoke to the US-ABC in 2013, also here in Washington, DC. Prime Minister Lee said, in a phrase that is often repeated, that in Asia, trade is strategy. Prime Minister Lee added that a more active trade agenda will benefit the United States economically and strategically. It reflects the US's ethos, open, confident, competitive, and win-win, and sets a positive example. I quote from these two speeches because they were made to the US-ABC and because these remain a consistent theme of the Singapore leadership in calling for the continued economic engagement of the United States for the region. And I want to keep building on that with all of you. So as we look ahead to what the US business community can do with ASEAN in the next year, I would like to offer some small ideas that the US-ABC may wish to take up as part of your agenda. Some have been mentioned by others, and I think they will gain some momentum. First, please do more for small and medium-sized businesses, the SMEs in ASEAN. American businesses in the region are already working with local companies, and more can be done to raise standards for these businesses as they look to serve a wider and more integrated ASEAN market. Second, and related to the SMEs, is to offer more education and training opportunities for the youth in ASEAN. It can be language training, or business smarts, or digital skills. Third, and probably most important, is for the US-ABC to help build momentum for a regional digital agenda that connects ASEAN businesses, SMEs, and young people with US businesses in dealing with the new challenge of digitalization. Helping ASEAN to integrate better on a digital agenda will benefit US companies and offer new opportunities for the future. There are many big ideas and challenges that we can pursue in the US-ASEAN agenda, which will require the US administration to work closely with ASEAN governments. These include vaccines and pandemic recovery, sustainability and the energy transition, and a wider economic agenda that builds digital standards and connectivity. The ideas I've offered for the US-ABC agenda are smaller and can be pursued by US businesses individually or as a group. They will help to strengthen your links with ASEAN and help to create new markets without having to wait for governments to come together on their agenda. I look forward to working with you on some of these ideas. Once again, I'm honored that you've given me the US-ABC Lifetime Achievement Award. All the best for the holidays. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Ambassador Mapuri, and thank you for those very thoughtful remarks and for your wisdom always. And now, ladies and gentlemen, last, but certainly not least, we are pleased this evening to present the Visionary Award to Minister Sri Mulyani of Indonesia. The Visionary Award was designed to honor an ASEAN government official who exemplifies visionary leadership in his or her support of US-ASEAN relations. We are so honored to present Minister Sri Mulyani Indrawati with this award in recognition of the outsized role she has played in bringing the United States and Indonesia closer together over her many years of public service in Indonesia. As you all know, Minister Sri Mulyani is one of the most respected economists in the world, and she has served her country as Minister of Finance twice in the last 16 years. During her time as finance minister from 2005 to 2010, Minister Sri Mulyani was given high marks for strengthening Indonesia's economy, increasing investments, and steering the economy through the 2007-2008 financial crisis. In 2014, she was ranked as the 38th most powerful woman in the world by Forbes magazine. Since taking the helm of the finance ministry once again in 2016, she has done an incredible job of growing Indonesia's economy and now helping to recover from the enormous impact of COVID-19 on the people of Indonesia. Today, she is here in spirit as an honored guest and most certainly a friend of the council. Minister Sri Mulyani is truly one of a kind, and her leadership has been enormously impactful in growing US-ASEAN economic cooperation. Her steadfast engagement with the US private sector through her work with the Council is more than deserving of this recognition. Minister Sri Mulyani is not able to be here live today, but we have some wonderful tribute videos in honor of her receiving the Visionary Award. And then we will also play a message from the minister herself.
The Visionary Award was designed to honor an ASEAN government official who exemplifies visionary leadership in their support of US-ASEAN relations. My name is Tariq Mahmood. I'm the Group Country Manager for Regional Southeast Asia for Visa. On behalf of Visa and the Board of US-ASEAN Business Council, it's my honor to pay tribute to Her Excellency Bu Sri Mulyani, the Indonesian Minister of Finance, to celebrate her Visionary Award. The Council has presented Minister Sri Mulyani with this award in recognition to the outsized role that she has played in bringing together the United States and Indonesia closer and closer over her many years of public service as Finance Minister. She has steered Indonesia through some of the most challenging global situations, whether it's a global financial crisis or COVID-19 pandemic. And her leadership and openness to engaging the US private sector has had such a positive impact, not only in the US-Indonesian relationships, but also the US-ASEAN relations. As Indonesia assumes the presidency of G20 in 2022, we look forward to supporting Minister Sri Mulyani and the Indonesian government on priorities around digitization, financial inclusion, and sustainable finance. So we can not only recover together, but we'll recover stronger. So congratulations on behalf of all of us.
My name is Bob Blake. As a former US ambassador to Indonesia, co-chair of the US-Indonesia Society, and now an advocate for many US businesses in Indonesia, I want to extend my warm congratulations to Finance Minister Sri Mulyani on the occasion of her receiving the US-ASEAN Business Council's Visionary Award. She truly exemplifies the spirit of this award, having skillfully steered Indonesia's economy through the global financial crisis of 2008 and the global COVID downturn of the last 2 years. While always defending Indonesia's interests, she has spearheaded numerous tax and other market reform initiatives, including Indonesia's first ever carbon tax that will improve the business climate for American and other firms. And she has pioneered initiatives in other fields, such as the LPDP Scholarship Fund that helps finance Indonesia's brightest students to pursue their studies at the finest universities in the United States and elsewhere. Congratulations again, Sri Mulyani, on this well-deserved award. We wish you continued success. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you in Washington, and a very good morning to those joining me from the ASEAN member countries. I am deeply honored and grateful to have been chosen as the Visionary Award recipient on the US-ASEAN Business Council 2021 award event. This award is a testimony of the very strong US-ASEAN relationship, especially between United States and Indonesia bilateral relationship, which has already improved significantly in recent time. Our close strategic partnership will even also growing more important, given that we are all working very diligently in order to recover our economy from the pandemic COVID-19. We are going to also continue support the green recovery and improve the bilateral relationship and regional cooperation, emphasizing on openness, trade, and investment. This is a very important event. I would like to share with you some part of the Indonesia effort, not only to recover, but to strengthen our foundation of the economy. Many reform has been launched by the government of Indonesia, even during this pandemic time. We've already passed the job creation law. We also passed the most recent reform on a taxation regulation. These are all the effort that is going to continue improve the investment climate in Indonesia. Even yesterday, we just passed another reform which is important, that is fiscal relation between national and local government. Our effort to improve investment climate to create certainty, simplifying bureaucracy, and also fair taxation, predictable as well as simple, is all the effort which actually try to serve the need of the Indonesia own economy and population. With the youth demography, we definitely want to create more job, a better and good quality of job based on skill and productivity. Indonesia government, in this case, focus more on human capital development through our education and health and social safety net. With that, and combined with our continued support to build infrastructure and better investment climate, we do hope that Indonesia is going to be able to establish not only a strong and credible track record, but also in this case, achieving a good performance on our economic as well as social stability. Indonesia is going to preside the G20 in this 2022. And our team in presiding the G20 is going to be recover together, recover stronger. This is the theme which actually creating an ambitious as well as optimistic view regarding the ability of the not only G20 but globally to be able to recover together from this pandemic COVID and also recover stronger. The three main challenges that we are now facing, that is the COVID, which is still continue ongoing, digital transformation, in order for us to be able to improve productivity, as well as the sustainable finance is going to be very critical. Finance track in Indonesia G20 presidency will focus on the area, including the discussion regarding exit strategy, how each economy is going to design from the very extraordinary current policy into a more normal time without disrupting recovery process. How the G20 is going to address the scarring effect to secure future growth. We are going to also discuss about payment system in the digital era. We discuss sustainable finance, which is critical for all of us to achieve sustainable goal. Financial inclusion is going to be critical so that the digital technology can provide a benefit for the population. And international taxation, which is very, very critical for all G20 members and globally to establish a fair taxation system. This priority is aimed to strengthen our collective global action in order for us to be able to recover together and recover stronger. To conclude my testimony on this very important occasion, once again, thank you very much for this award. It's truly an honor for me to receive that. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Sri Mulyani. I think it's clear from the minister's remarks why she is the recipient of this award. I want to thank all of our fantastic honorees, Minister Sri Mulyani, my friend Ambassador Mirpuri, my friend Deputy Assistant Secretary Melissa Brown, Representatives Ann Wagner and Joaquin Castro, Alex Feldman, and Russell King. I'd like to again thank our generous sponsors, Airbnb, Chubb, Cigna, Coca-Cola, Freeport McMoran, Johnson & Johnson, J-Pygo, Marriott International, MetLife, PepsiCo, Philip Morris International, UL, and Visa. Without you, none of this would be possible. And of course, thank you to our wonderful staff, Kim Yeager, Patrick Kahn, Dylan, Ryan, Hai, Sarah, Mega, Lilybeth, for all your hard work to make this happen. And let me thank my fellow MCs, Liz and Mark, for joining me on this stage. I want to thank our friends who have joined us in person for this event, and thank you to those of you who are watching but couldn't make it today live. We look forward to a promising 2022, which is already on its way to being a very important year for US-ASEAN relations. Ambassador Mirpuri quoted Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong when he said, "Trade is strategy in Asia," and it's true. Thailand will be hosting APEC next year. Indonesia will chair the G20. These are enormous opportunities to advance a positive trade agenda. The Biden administration is increasing its engagement in the Indo-Pacific, including by likely hosting a summit of ASEAN leaders in Washington early next year. We will host our board meeting next spring. We just decided this morning in Singapore, to which we are deeply committed. We will have our annual business missions, hybrid, in person, virtual. We will adapt. We'll figure it out. We'll have new programs focused on the digital economy, on sustainability and waste management, on green finance, and so much more next year. So stay tuned, and as always, stay in touch. Thank you very much.